Senior Plat versus Setska. Toxic versus Sparks and Wind.
Yeah, and we're seeing here, Setska says, I don't have enough, but I think he's playing a little mind games because this team, he has a lot of win against 𝗏𝗂�58's Toxic. But 𝗏𝗂�58has a history. It always looks on paper like even against a full turbo team, he always finds a way. Let's see if he's able to find a way. He is our winner side player, and Setska is coming all the way. I mean, Setska, you could say, has a lot more momentum going with him because he had to play a lot more matches to get to this position. Maybe 𝗏𝗂�58, you know, took a little nap. His so mental's not 100% there, but you know, probably is. He's always game to play. So let's see. Oh, all right. Setska fearing that 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗽𝗺. Not too bad.
Yeah, 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗽𝗺 is really solid. It counters Naga very well. It counters 𝗵𝗵𝗆, and it also counters an Iridescence digital. Or no, I'm sorry, it doesn't. It resists. That was completely wrong. The 𝗂𝗽 is very strong against nature, but
it's
either
just
way.
strong, period, right? Momo can't take too many. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 can't take too many. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 can't. So yeah, it's a good ban there. But here we go. 𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗺 to get things started for 𝗏𝗂�58. He also has the Naga as if he wants to pair it. I think 𝗏𝗂�58 might be leaning towards there, and it's such a tough matchup. If he does think his Nagas, of course Setska picks 𝗵𝗵𝗆, but this is the beautiful thing about having the blue side. You get 𝗵𝗵𝗆, you go something like 𝗬𝗚𝗎 or 𝗧𝗲𝗺𝗺 or 𝗬𝗏𝗃. 𝗬𝗃 probably the better one. So yeah, Setska trying to say, all right, don't get the Nagas so I could ban it potentially the next turn.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Naga's not looking too good here. Earlier, we did see a Voliren Gulder lead out of Senior Plat, but that's also not looking too happy with this 𝗵𝗵𝗆. I think that you were right in saying, you know, either the 𝗬𝗚𝗎 or the 𝗬𝗃, but at the same time, any of these melee attackers, this digital 𝗂𝗽 is very strong against, so he decides to stick it out with this Naga. He just wants to try and survive, try to play his game, maybe swap it out later on.
Yeah,
probably swap it out. He doesn't want to take this damage turn one.
You know what? This could be the craziest thing, or 𝗏𝗂�58's up to something. Maybe just saying, I kind of need a Naga for the remainder of Setska's team, so let's pick it up before it gets banned. But I don't know. Obviously, it's a tough turn one, but I say that, but we forget, or not we forget, but 𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗺 has a bamboozle to try to protect it. 𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗺, the second slowest, so the second fastest. So 𝗂𝘀𝗀𝗺 goes first. 𝗵𝗵𝗆 misses from the bamboozle, but Digital Stream should still do a good amount onto the Naga, so he's not entirely safe, but maybe he can't just straight up madness buff in Setska's face, because we'll see.
Yeah, madness buff is absolutely not the play right now. I mean, you told us the order. You're absolutely correct. The 𝗵𝗵𝗆 won't be able to attack, but then the +2 special defense won't do anything against a physical digital stream. So we find ourselves in that same predicament once again, where digital just trumps a madness buff. Or physical trumps apologize, but a few more picks come through. Voliren for 𝗏𝗏𝗆𝗃 and 𝗬𝗏𝗚 for Setska. I love seeing 𝗬𝗏𝗚, but it is a little bit rough here. I mean, it's good for this Gulder, it's good on 𝗬𝗃 and 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗆 in the back. It's even pretty good for 𝗧𝗲𝗻𝗃, so I like where he's going with this. But that Voliren is very, very scary on the poor little butterfly.
That is true, and I could kind of see why the 𝗬𝗃 wasn't there, because Digital Stream also does a fair amount onto 𝗬𝗃, so this is fair. Let's see how it plays out. That opener seems really tricky for these guys, so I'm really curious how it plays out. But rounding out 𝗏𝗂�58's team, obviously we got that Voliren really good into almost everything on Setska's side. And there we go. We had to get the melee synergy for the 𝗧𝗲𝗻𝗃, and 𝗬𝗃 just obviously a really strong Tem. Setska having the option between 𝗏𝗏𝗆 and Naga. This is tough because Naga is kind of good into almost half the team. What did he go for? Oh, the 𝗏𝗏𝗆. All right.
Yeah, I think 𝗏𝗏𝗆 is really good too, especially with how much pressure there is on this Naga turn one. That means potentially 𝗏𝗏𝗆 could just come in later on and do so much damage with Naga pressured out, no Deceit Aura scaring away those tornadoes. And really, nobody that resists it all that well. I mean, even 𝗧𝗵𝗆 and 𝗬𝗺 will take quite a lot of damage from that.
That is right. I'm seeing a little bit in the chat. Let's get a little hype. It is grand finals time. The tournament going for about 4 hours now. Not too bad. 𝗧𝗵𝗆 retreating for the Grumper, and it's a double swap. All right. But wait a minute. Digital Stream's still pretty good. It must be just to eat that Thunderstrike.
Yeah, I mean, that's Thunderstrike does decent damage towards 𝗬𝗃. Digital Stream even more so. Thankfully, Barrier does pick up a bit of that damage, but it's still so much. I mean, the double swap. So now 𝗧𝗵𝗆 does have Rack online, but he doesn't really want to click it here. He's still in damage of this 𝗂𝗀𝗇, or still in fear of this 𝗂𝗀𝗇. And 𝗬𝗃 is afraid for its life, as it did take more than 50%. And it wouldn't hurt Setska at all to click those same buttons. I mean, even if damage comes out, if 𝗬𝗃 is killed, then Setska's looking very good. He gets rid of that Rex synergy. He gets rid of any potential perfect jabs later on, or even a tenderness onto this 𝗂𝗀𝗇. That would be a fantastic turn 2 on Setska's side.
Yeah, I can see that as well. I mean, he's not heated up, so I don't think it will easily kill. But yeah, I remember the Karin trying to gun down the 𝗂𝗀𝗇 with that stone ball. So that 𝗧𝗵𝗆 definitely hurts both of these Temtems on Setska's side. But the 𝗂𝗀𝗇, I didn't see how much damage he did on the 𝗬𝗃. Does he have kill potential on the 𝗬𝗃? Oh, okay, this is big. Cage and nothing on the Grumper, of course, because of the chamomile. But catching the 𝗂𝗀𝗇.
Yeah, it was a double swap from Setska. So Senior Plat, he is Senior Plat for a reason. He knows quite a bit. He does get that synergy rack off. 𝗬𝗚li's okay. 𝗂𝗀𝗇 on the other hand takes more than 50%. But now, I mean, if he had stayed in, if he just had read that cage and gone for the digital stream, 𝗬𝗃 would be long gone. But instead, 𝗂𝗀𝗇 is afraid. He's trapped in. He's scared for his life now. But he is still staring down 2 melee Tems that he does quite a lot of damage to.
Yeah, and I think even more so, a water cannon. A water cannon on 𝗧𝗵𝗆 probably does a bit more. I actually don't remember the exact attack amounts, but I feel like a water cannon would do more onto the 𝗧𝗵𝗆. But it could just be the parrier making a digital stream seem a bit less. But the problem is speed, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough for Plat now that he is caged in with this 𝗬𝗚li, because Resin Trap's going to do quite a lot. But for 𝗧𝗵𝗆, as far as he's concerned, he is probably built with more special defense in mind, even though that base stat is just a little bit lower at 43. He probably is prepared for the water cannon more so than, you know, the physical digital stream, which you know is a lower damage but is more built up on this 𝗂𝗀𝗇. But it is the dim muck onto the 𝗂𝗀𝗇. She's trying to take it down before anything else happens, but 𝗂𝗀𝗇 holds on. Resin Trap onto this 𝗧𝗵𝗆 from 100 down to 34%. And an uppercut, it does outspeed this 𝗂𝗀𝗇. No more digital stream, no auto destruction. Digital, get out of here. Melee's reign supreme.
And man, the day we get an auto destruct on stream on our tournaments, everyone's going wild, but we've yet to see it yet. So maybe one day in the future, but not too bad. The Resin Trap did keep the 𝗧𝗵𝗆 in for a turn, but it looks like the trap has expired. 𝗧𝗵𝗆 is back online, but not too good Temtem staring in front of him, so might be looking at a swap. You know, something like a gold or Nagas doesn't seem too bad. These seem to be actually, they're kind of on the slower end, but I think he has to be swapping these Tems out. I don't know if it's a double, but at least actually it feels like a double. No, oh, the turbo, of course.
Yeah, that is very nice. Getting the turbo when you hold the Naga means that you don't have to play 𝗬𝗺 when that Naga is out. You don't have to worry about 𝗬𝗺. So even though 𝗬𝗃 is sacrificed to the gods and will always go first now.
Yeah, so just we saw that play before as well. He just sacks the 𝗬𝗃 to guarantee that turbo go off. So hey, 𝗬𝗺 being fast, 𝗬𝗺 looking good into 𝗬𝗚li, of course. I mean, neutral damage into Momo and Grandpa. The Grumper is the only one that's giving him issues, but he's not on the board right now, so should be okay. What is Magia considering bringing out? He has the Golder, he has the Nagais. 𝗧𝗵𝗶 not looking too good. I think you got to try to save that for the Grumper in the back. Yeah, it has to be Nagais, right? Because Golder against 2 wins, and it looks like it might...
Yeah, so that makes it a little more complicated after turboing your Volaren. Now he's always going last, whereas before there was a chance that it undersped this Grandpa. You know, it is anaerobic, so it's not... Still a scary turn for 𝗬𝗬𝗚. It did just use its Resin Trap, so it doesn't have... Or no, was that last turn? I'm confusing myself a little bit.
No, I think it has Resin Trap now, for sure. It was the previous turn. And one turn has passed since that Resin Trap, so it does indeed have it. And Naga is knowing so, but wait a minute. If Resin Trap goes into the 𝗧𝗵𝗶 though...
Yeah, this might have just been a big mind game to try and survive the double swaps. Hypnosis from Grandpa onto the Golder. He targeted the right spot with the right Tem. It just wasn't enough. Resin Trap is on the 𝗧𝗵𝗶 as well. That is taking him down out of this game. Grumper is feeling very good now.
Yeah, not too bad. I wonder if he was hoping that that Setska overthought it a little bit, where you don't Resin Trap the Nagais there. But you know, that was actually a beautiful play from Setska, sleeping the Golder, now allowing a Bamboozle going into the Nagai slot. So even though Resin Trap is offline now, at least it's almost free damage onto that slot. Either Volaren gets it or Nagais takes at least 50%. Makes it a bit scarier for that Madness buff.
Yeah, this has been a really good game from Setska so far. I mean, he did lose the 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗆 to a kind of soul-crushing end with that 𝗧𝗵𝗶, but still a lot of HP on all 4 of his Tems and only 3 remaining for Plat. This Grandpa is just going to destroy Golder. This Momo or Grumper will do so much damage to Volaren, and 𝗬𝗬𝗚 just counters this Naga perfectly.
Alright, so Magia going with the riskier play, but sometimes that risky play does pay off. So Madness buff, but no, Setska's saying, I will wake up Golder since Golder went first, or would have gone first. And wait a minute, he's gonna say no more Bamboozle shenanigans for you, Mr. Magia. And Golder taken out of the picture, the bully trait adding a bit more salt to the wounds. I think Setska will be taking this one. That was a heck of a play. I thought for some reason gun down Nagais, but no, of course, take out the one that keeps Naga on the board forever.
Yeah, that was very big brain from Setska. You kill the Golder. Naga does get a free Madness buff, but how far is that going to go when Grumper is still alive and very healthy? I mean, this Grumper is absolutely spec'd to eat a Fury. It has to be. So there's nothing that Naga can realistically do to survive Grumper's wrath.
Yeah, 100%. It should be slower. And Volaren is not, and actually we haven't seen it from the past. It is an anaerobic Volaren, so it should be an anaerobic now. But it hasn't started setting up, so maybe if it tries to set up now. But yeah, this Grumper looking kind of problematic for sure for the remainder of Magia's team. And Setska coming from that losers bracket. We said it may be a bit more on a hot streak, a bit more momentum going his way. And it looks like game 1 should be going his way, but Magia might be taking down a couple Temtems with them.
Yeah, that was pretty good damage on both Grandpa and Momo. Hypnosis comes through onto this Volaren, and it doesn't quite overexert the Grandpa, so he can attack again the following turn if he wants to. But I think... no, there is no more AoE, and Naga definitely wants to target down this Momo spot, so Grandpa could overexert itself for a lot of damage if it wanted to.
Yeah, I feel like at this point you just try to do as much damage as you can and just hope Grumper could just clean it up at the very end. it doesn't seem too unreasonable just to try to use as much as your resources, because it's not a ranked match. You don't need to have as much Tems alive to get higher TMR. You just want to guarantee the win at the end of the day. So yeah, might as well use the remaining Temtems you have. You have a bit of that Tem lead. So I don't think...
absolutely. And with Ґrumper in the back being a perfect counter for both of these Tems, I think that if Setska is able to take down one of them without Ґrumper having to come out and do any damage, then that's pretty much the end. So Naga does beta burst onto the Grandpa, lets Momo survive, which could do quite a bit of damage to Volarend. Undermine does come through from 90% down to 24.
Jeez.
So that might just get the job done. That sets... I mean, even if it's Lawali, it does get the Toxic Plume off, so that's nice that he's able to wake up and do something. But Momo does still survive, which means it has to be a target next turn.
Yeah, so Volarend being at +2 speed, making it go last, so you get that little toxic ink. But 𝗏𝗍𝗃 had enough. He said, man, with that Ґrumper in the back, what are we doing? Let's go on to the next game.
I clicked on friends instead of interact, so I'm a little delayed.
Yeah, no worries. So 𝗏𝗍𝗃 going with the Temtem. We did not see too much play from game one. It did get a resin trap to the face nice and early on, but decides to go with it. Usually we see 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗆 paired with something like a Kinu, but no Kinu there. So I'm curious if it's just going to be something like the Mashok pairing. And never mind. Not against the digital 𝗬𝗀𝗀. I think
digital
Volarend
𝗀𝗀 kind of shuts all of that down.
Yeah, I feel like Volarend is super safe into most of Setska's team. He does, I mean, it's just the Ґrumper there. All right, so the 𝗏𝗀𝗀 gets picked up. 𝗏𝗀𝗀, digital 𝗀𝗀𝗀. What does 𝗧𝗵𝗆 want to do? I feel like the Volarend's still not that bad.
Yeah, Volarend is still pretty good here. Absolutely. It's 𝗏𝗃𝗃's decent on the 𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗃. He does take quite a bit from any hypoxia or tornado shenanigans, but I think it's still probably worth it. I mean, if he goes for the 𝗏𝗃𝗃, he gets the +1. It doesn't protect too much from the 𝗂𝗀𝗃, but I think that he would still survive at least 2 turns in this scenario. And definitely this monkey is the primary target with mental and digital staring him down.
Yeah, so does go with that Volarend. What does Setska want to ban? He's consistently banning that nature 𝗂𝗀𝗃, which seemed to be working for him. He did indeed ban... I'm trying to remember... What was that second ban for Setska? It wasn't Nagai's, right? Because 𝗏𝗍𝗃 ended up picking up his Nagai's.
It wasn't Naga, it might have been 𝗬𝗀𝗃.
Yeah, it might have been, because that's the only one I can't see. So it might be 𝗬𝗀𝗃 again. I mean, 𝗬𝗀𝗃 is just a heavy hitting Tem. Good against Ґrumper. Potentially good into Nagai's. So, alright, so Momo won't be coming out this time. Last time Momo did get some play, but not this time. So Grandpa, and here's the nature squad. This is what gives 𝗏𝗍𝗃 such a tough time sometimes. Look at how much Wind Temtem. Not a lot of people are running that these days, but maybe Setska catching wind of what 𝗏𝗍𝗃 likes to do and maybe prepared, not specifically for him, but a lot of people are liking some toxic Tems these days.
You know, I don't think that Setska prepared for Senior Plat, but I definitely know that there are players that go into these tournaments changing their teams so that they can outlast, incredible players like Senior Plat or 𝗬𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗆, or even we didn't see any of the other names here today, so I'm not going to bring them up into it. But yeah, definitely building to counter people like Senior Plat does happen. I think that this was just a lucky coincidence for Setska that he has so many fantastic counters.
Yeah, so game number 2. Game number 2 of our grand finals for this Plus Cup number 8. Is Setska gonna be making the craziest comeback of a lifetime, going down to the lower bracket, making it all the way through towards those best of ones and find himself in the grand finals? Or does 𝗬𝗀𝗇 solidify his winning run? Let's see. 𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗶 does fly out to 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗁, but this Noxious Bomb should be putting a hurt in onto 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴. Oh, not even 50% though. And Iridescence, of course.
And now Digital Stream brings 𝗧𝗵𝗺 down. All of its contributions, it snared the 𝗬𝗺𝗁. It got 𝗂𝘀𝗶 -1, but that's still not enough to confirm a kill this turn from 𝗂𝒿𝒻 alone. And now 𝗬𝗀𝗇 comes in, but 𝗬𝗀𝗇 has half melee typing, so he's very weak to this board state as well, and he doesn't even have Crystal Bite available for this 𝗬𝗺𝗁.
Yeah, just has a little double gash to his name right now. So turn 1 starting off to the races. Setska pulling a bit ahead. Let's see if he's able to carry this momentum forward. As you said, Digital Stream not all that bad into the 𝗬𝗀𝗇 slot. Maybe something like a double up, but no, the 𝗂𝘀𝗶 was tired of taking some damage. It will be the grandpa. Maybe a turbo play from Setska. Let's take a look.
No, it is the Tornado going towards the 𝗬𝗀𝗇. He does a little bit more damage with Tornado than he would have with a Beta Burst, but is mirroring 𝗬𝗀𝗇. We should have expected this. 𝗬𝗀𝗇 has been talking about it in chats for a week. Mirroring 𝗬𝗀𝗇 does damage back on 𝗬𝗺𝗁. She doubles into Grandpa for quite a bit of damage, but still not quite 50. Now 𝗬𝗀𝗇 does have Crystal Bite available, so 𝗬𝗺𝗁, she's a little bit afraid. But here, so is Grandpa. That would be a lot of damage taken from a Crystal Bite Noxious Bomb.
Yeah, I dare say it will be enough to clean up the Grandpa. However, if he wants to go into 𝗬𝗺𝗁 as well, Setska doesn't really have the best swap. 𝗬𝗚𝗚, I believe, didn't have the Strange Vest, so it's still gonna take a big chunk. Grumper isn't necessarily resistant, it's still neutral, so that's gonna be 40-50%. So Crystal Bite into either slot doesn't feel that bad. The only thing stopping it, no, 𝗬𝗺𝗁 just used Tornado, right? So Tornado from Grandpa and 𝗬𝗺𝗁 won't be able to get off anything before the 𝗬𝗀𝗇. So 𝗬𝗀𝗇's looking pretty good. Pretty good for, I guess you kind of close it out. What do you have for 𝗬𝗺𝗁 though? I think Grandpa more of a problem though overall. So everything stays in, Rawrzyyy.
Yeah, Grandpa just wants to take advantage of the bully. He almost kills 𝗬𝗀𝗇 if 𝗵𝗵𝗶 is here as well. 𝗬𝗺𝗁 may very well kill, but no, Crystal Bite onto this Grandpa. Grandpa falls victim. And now, I mean, 𝗬𝗺𝗁 has to kill this 𝗬𝗀𝗇, right? It's a wind burst. He does bring him down. He loses Grandpa in the process, but now 𝗬𝗺𝗁's looking very good into the rest of Senior Plat's team.
Yeah, not too bad. So 1-for-1 trade, feeling okay. But it makes 𝗬𝗀𝗇 2 Temtems down. Setska with the single Temtem down. So Senior Plat with the final 3. But these are a heck of a final 3. So 𝗬𝗀𝗃, 𝗂𝒿𝒻, these guys are really good partner Temtems. You got that Euroshow synergy online. However, 𝗬𝗺𝗁 never left. So 𝗬𝗺𝗁, if he wants to overexert, Tornado's back online, but that's huge. You go down so low from a Tornado, so maybe not. Potentially looking at a swap, but nothing feels that great. Grumper doesn't want to be in for the 𝗬𝗃. 𝗂𝘀 doesn't want to be in with that double Noxious Bomb potential in 2 turns. So maybe you do. Maybe just like a Tornado slash bait, you know, Tornado 𝗬𝗵𝗆𝗆 to kill the 𝗬𝗃. That doesn't seem too crazy. He only has Golder in the back line.
I think if Energy Exert this 𝗬𝗺𝗁, he does have the nature synergy. It will be pretty good damage along with a 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗆 onto 𝗬𝗃. That is what we end up seeing, down to 67% from the 𝗵𝗵𝗶. He's exhausted for quite a while, but that doesn't really matter. 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗆 as well, more special attack, no parrier, a Rushiel onto this 𝗬𝗚𝗚. It does so much damage, plus 50% over the next 4 turns. Noxious Bomb targeting down 𝗬𝗚𝗚 as well. He doesn't even need the Toxic Ticks. 𝗬𝗚𝗚 falls victim to a Savage 𝗂𝒿𝒻, which is now +4 special defense. So Setska absolutely needs this digital 𝗂𝘀𝗶 to survive until the end. Just get some kind of damage on this 𝗂𝒻 and pray that Grumper can do the rest. But now, I mean, 𝗵𝗶's out. 𝗵𝗶's facing down this 𝗬𝗃. I think we need to see another energy manipulation, kill this 𝗬𝗃, save 𝗵𝗶's life long enough to do something to Volerend.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this position, as you said, Tornado EM is online. So 𝗬𝗃, I think the only thing it can do if it wants to, which probably may be the best line to play, something like a turbo, that +4 special defense. That is the win condition for 𝗬𝗫𝗫. So buffing it up +2 speed, making sure you always will go first, might be pretty crucial for 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗺's victory. But this 𝗵𝗺's looking a bit scary. As you said though, +4 special attack maybe eats about 3 to 4 thunder strikes. That might be enough.
Yeah, this Volerend just sitting out here with this sweatband spamming noxious bombs. It's done quite a lot of damage to both Grandpa and Lawali and 𝗂𝘀𝗶, but it's also, more importantly, protected itself against this heavy special attack team, which is lacking its sparks coverage. 𝗂𝘀𝗶 decides to swap out, and luckily for Setska, 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗺 swaps Gul'der in for 𝗬𝗃 as well. That could have been very damaging, but the Feather Gatling, it does target down this 𝗂𝘀𝗶 spot, potentially predicting the swap. I mean, Thunderstrike is doing damage, but not nearly enough. 72. He's going to survive 3 more of those, no problem.
Yeah, and that's without being at +5. So one more noxious bomb should be looking okay. And 𝗏𝗠𝗀𝗀's just full of special damage. 𝗂𝘀𝗶 has to try to target Volerend and do any kind of damage, because that's the only physical pressure remaining on Setska's team. So let's take a look what 𝗬𝗫𝗫 or Setska want to do. I feel like the Gul'der has an easy toxic ink into the 𝗂𝘀𝗶 perhaps to kill. And then Volerend, I think you just want to, you overexert for another noxious bomb. I think you might have to rest, or do we swap here?
I think best case for 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗺 is to swap 𝗬𝗃 in for Volerend, get a little bit more stamina going. Because at the end of the day, as long as this 𝗂𝘀𝗶 dies without attacking Volerend, he's in a decent spot. He decides to OX for the noxious bomb, give himself +5. I definitely can't argue with that logic. It is a bit of an overexertion, but not too bad. Down to 62%. Another Thunder Strike. So much stamina usage on this 𝗵𝗺. Volerend's down to 38, but he still survives another one, no problem. And Bamboozle onto Gul'der just to BM a little bit on this 𝗏𝗠𝗀𝗀 and say, you know, you can't kill me next turn. You can't even touch me.
Yeah, and 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 is indeed the fastest one to compare. Well, fastest on Setska's team, so has to make sure, you know, if you want to attack into Gul'der, 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀 has to be the one to pop it. But I think just like we were talking last turn, I think 𝗬𝗃 does swap in here. Volerend OX as we saw last turn, so can't get off anything. And this is going to be close. You know what? With Volerend... Oh, Volerend stayed in. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the wind burst actually does quite a little bit. Stonewall into 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗃 just to keep it alive long enough to kill this Gul'der. Toxic Ink from 66 down to 46. So that Stonewall was actually really good, only doing 20% damage. 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗃 can survive 2 more of those in spades. And Hypoxia Tornado will do quite a lot to this poor little Gul'der.
Yeah, you know, looking how things are going, 𝗵𝗺 is out of stamina, but he's also at 100 HP. I feel like that's gonna be a lot. He doesn't have anything. 𝗬𝗃 is the one direct answer, but that's running out of HP. It's gonna be on the way of Volerend and Gul'der to get things done, but Volerend seems to be going down within the next turn.
You know, Volerend is very hurt, but now Volerend outspeeds this 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗃 because of... Or no, I'm sorry, it didn't get a turbo earlier, so it doesn't outspeed. It's going to go second. 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃 could kill Volerend or 𝗬𝗃. 𝗵𝗺 did overexert itself, so he's got to rest up for a little bit, and he no longer has chamomile and can't get it again, so he's not going to be able to spam those Thunder Strikes like he used to. I think that this has to be a Tornado on Gul'der for Setska.
Yeah.
Which means that 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 can swap in 𝗬𝗃 and keep a very happy, healthy Gul'der.
Yeah, I think so, because I think the 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗃 has to overexert here. Because if Golder stays at this HP, Grumper will never be able to take it down. So I agree, Rawrzyyy. You have to tornado this Golder to try to get that damage off. But yeah, it seems like an easy read. So maybe but 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has to do something. Because Volerant outspeeds Grumper, and I think Volerant just targets the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Let's take a look. Right. So 𝗏𝗏𝗏 to try to perhaps eat a tornado. It's the last thing he can do, so might as well.
Yeah, that was a bit of a 50-50, I think. If Setska had absolute certainty read that swap, he could have targeted Volerant. If he doesn't overexert, if he just uses an 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, he would have survived long enough to, you know, forcibly tornado onto a Golder. But now it is just Grumper staring down Golder. It's a stamina versus just sheer blob of HP kind of a battle right now. And I think since there's no more chamomile, the toxic ticks are probably what's going to win this one.
Exactly right. We'll take a look how much a Thunder Strike is going to do. So we'll keep an eye about 67%. But yeah, as you said, there's no way. With the chamomile off, those toxic ticks, that's an extra 25% every time after the poison clears, of course. But okay, about 27%. So 2 more of those will be enough. So harmful lick in between. Wait a second. Oh, no, never mind. I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 bringing it back, and this is no other way I like to see it go down. It will be going to a game number 3. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 not giving up. He says, I've been fighting this whole time on the winner side. Let's keep things rolling. So GG, 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏.
Has a lot of fans. Earlier on, somebody in the chat had asked about that. Who do we favor? And there were a lot of Setska name drops. So definitely a lot of people want him to pull through. They just might be asleep at the moment.
Yeah, very true. But here it is, last and final game. I know on the bracket it says 1 more, but I think these Tamers all decided just a single best of 3, just how we used to do it. And the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 nowhere to be found in this finals. It will be getting the ban every single time. And same thing goes for the 𝗬𝗍𝗻 here.
Yeah, so Setska leading once more that digital 𝗂𝗃, of course, I mean, countering so many Tems on Plat's side, especially last time with that 𝗧𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏 lead. It was damage potential everywhere that Setska looked with this digital 𝗂𝗃, so definitely bringing it through again. I hope that it has auto destruction on it. I want to see that. I really, the sacrificial beast of damage just doing so much to everybody would be fantastic.
Yeah, you know, one way to go. But you it's like sacrifice, right? You blow yourself up.
It's like sacrifice, except the other way. Instead of doing it to protect our friends, we're doing it to harm the others.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, I've never seen it go off, so I would be super intrigued to see it. But let's see what 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has in mind. He is on the orange side, as he just won a game, of course. So Nagai's pick number 1. 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 not too. Oh, okay, so the tried and true Nagai's Golder to get things started. So Setska almost has to pick up the Grumper, but we saw Setska has a really good matchup, not super good, but has a good answer to this opener for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Yeah, I mean, 𝗧𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is forced into this bamboozle now, because if he takes both of these hits from Grumper and 𝗂𝗃, that is a dead Naga on turn 1. So he's forced to bamboozle and try to eat that digital 𝗂𝗃 digital stream. And then, I mean, maybe Madness buff to take Grumper a little bit better, but you don't really want to hurt yourself. This is still a good lead for Setska. I mean, more bans come through. Grandpa's not going to play. 𝗬𝗓𝗓𝗏 isn't going to play. And some more pretty quick picks. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's very good into countering the 𝗧𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Momo is fantastic for this Golder, and Volerant 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is very good for Naga, Golder, and 𝗧𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is good for pretty much everyone except for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and digital 𝗂𝗃. So a lot of really strong Tems picked in very fashion.
Yeah, and pretty much both Tamers going with what has been working for them, keeping the same bans. And here we go, ladies and gents, the final game of this monthly tournament. Who is it gonna be? I am excited. Both of these guys are super fantastic, but 𝗧𝗃𝗃 does not want to be caught in with this heat. So it will be 𝗧𝗵𝗃. We saw this play previously as well, but no 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗄 this time.
Yeah, no 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗄 just wanted to do damage where he could onto this 𝗬𝗃. 𝗧𝗵𝗃 is going to take the Thunder Strike, and Digital Stream does so much damage onto this poor melee monkey ×2. He does get the snare off on the chamomile on 𝗵𝗃, so that could be pretty good later on. We definitely saw, you know, this 𝗵𝗃 without that stamina, the exhaustion safeguard from chamomile's immunity. It definitely wasn't able to put up the fight. Often see with that chamomile, so that might have been a really good play, actually. Sacrifice 𝗧𝗵𝗃 for the greater good of a weak 𝗵𝗃, and now 𝗧𝗵𝗃 probably goes first if he wanted to go for an uppercut.
Yeah, I think so as well. We saw 𝗂𝗀𝗆 wasn't the fastest like we're used to seeing the fire 𝗂𝗀𝗆, so yeah, just as going out swinging a final uppercut. Or, you know, 𝗧𝗵𝗃 is online. That does a good amount to the 𝗂𝗀𝗆 as well. So Setska looking at maybe a double swap, because a non-heat up 𝗧𝗵𝗃, it still does about 30% on each of these Temtems. So 𝗵𝗃 heading out to the back line. Chamomile not intact, so that might come back to bite Setska. We'll take a look.
Oh yeah, and this 𝗵𝗃 just to give a little bit of synergy on the rack.
There we go.
𝗬𝗃𝗆 comes in to eat it very nicely, but 𝗂𝗀𝗆, after this toxic tick, it might go down. It does. 2.5% isn't enough. He will kill the 𝗧𝗵𝗃. 𝗧𝗵𝗃 falls down 4 versus 4.
And yeah, exchanges on both sides here in turn number 2. Man, what an aggressive meta that I think we're in right now. We had a bit of a slower a couple weeks ago, but ever since then, a lot of people playing very aggressive, you know, kills going on turn 1, turn 2. Really impressive stuff. You know, you have to know exactly how much damage you're doing, and it seems like these Tamers know exactly that. But 𝗵𝗃 back out on the board, pressuring out this Volibear. Not out, but pressuring the Volibear for sure. It has no special defense. The only way the Volibear was able to take those Thunder Strikes, because it started taking them at +4 special defense. At +0, this 𝗵𝗃 is easily going to do over 50%.
Oh yeah, but they all decide to stay in. Turbo Choreography. 𝗃𝗃 goes for the Tornado. I mean, no plus special defense here. It does so much damage. Noxious Bomb, so we will have +1 just in time for this 𝗵𝗃. But the Strange Vest 𝗃𝗃. Strange Vest 𝗃𝗃 doesn't care about your Noxious Bombs. It hardly does any damage, and Voldorend is in the red. So that +2 speed is going to benefit 𝗧𝗵𝗃, but not too much on this bird.
Yeah, as it is going down. However, everything's online for the Volibear. Maybe he's okay to swap in. The question is what? I mean, golds are seemingly the best answer. And wait a minute. If chamomile got snared away, how come it got chamomile when it entered? Was that just the first chamomile that triggered? It doesn't reset?
We're only on turn 4 right now, so that chamomile's immunity is still there from turn 1. So as soon as this one goes away, there is no more to be had, which I think is why Setska's just left this 𝗵𝗃 out despite the 𝗵𝗃 staring it down, and just said, you know what? Go out with a bang. We still have Momo, we still have 𝗬𝗬𝗚 in the back. 𝗵𝗃 can do a lot of damage while he's here, even if it's not for a long time.
You know, with this 𝗃𝗃 staying reasonably healthy with 𝗬𝗬𝗚 in the back, it feels a bit rough for 𝗬𝗏𝗃. I mean, he has 𝗵𝗃 still at 100%, 𝗀𝗪 still at 100%, but Setska just with clean answers to those Temtems. If 𝗵𝗃 manages to stay rather healthy too, that 𝗧𝗃𝗃 doesn't feel all that impactful too. But it all depends on the reads, of course. So let's take a look what 𝗬𝗏𝗃 is considering. And yeah, Setska preserving the 𝗵𝗃 for a bit down the road, bringing out the Momo here.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty good. I don't foresee too much damage going onto that Grumper, as 𝗬𝗺 wouldn't have been able to do very much. And yeah, it is targeting this 𝗬𝗺 with the Strange Vest again on Noxious Bomb. 𝗬𝗺 survives what he otherwise would have died to. Beta Burst taking... Oh no, he's not taking down 𝗬𝗺. He's doing just shy of 50% to 𝗬𝗃. That is actually unfortunate that 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏, unfortunate for Setska, very fortunate for 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏 to survive on 51. He's got to be doubled into, but this is still a pretty good turn for Setska. Now Momo's got Undermine active. 𝗬𝗺 could take down 𝗬𝗺 unless maybe it goes down to an HKS just because of that Strange Vest.
True. And yeah, those are the mind games in Temtem, right? You know the 𝗬𝗺 dies 100% to any of these attacks. But knowing that your opponent, you think that your opponent thinks that, so they don't attack into it, and 𝗏𝗍𝗃 getting away with murder, keeping that 𝗬𝗺 in, and at +2 speed, like you said, Rawrzyyy, probably able to get this 𝗬𝗺 down. But 𝗬𝗺, Tornado is back online, so maybe able to do something before going out. The question is it worth though? Trading out your 𝗬𝗺 already, it feels a bit early. Because 𝗬𝗺 really good into 𝗬𝗺.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a play where 𝗬𝗺 swaps in for Setska to try and eat an HKS, but it's really up to what Setska thinks that 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏's going to click. If he clicks Noxious Bomb, then he's much better off staying in with 𝗬𝗺, and if he clicks an HKS, 𝗬𝗺 is perfectly fine. Momo will take down 𝗬𝗃 before any attacks come off. Oh no, 𝗬𝗃 is +2. I apologize. So 𝗬𝗃 will still get an attack off.
Yeah, and it looks like 𝗬𝗃 doesn't feel that bad. Just get it while you can. So 𝗬𝗺 does swap in for Nagai. So 𝗬𝗃 synergy not online. That's probably not what he's considering now. It's just an uppercut. Okay.
Alright, so Tornado does bring down 𝗬𝗃, but now does Momo click Undermine into the Naga?
I think 𝗬𝗺 had to overexert. Yeah, okay. So 1-for-1 trade, but you're right. Undermine, how much is it gonna do? Still a good amount despite being half effective, but the bigger thing, -1 special attack. So even a madness buff, it's just gonna be a +1. And even if you madness buff, you go way too low. You fall down to 30%. Things are looking a bit tricky. If there's any duo that can do it, it will be the Nagais and 𝗀𝗀𝗪.
Yeah, I mean, Naga 𝗀𝗀𝗪's nice. 𝗬𝗺 is still alive in the back. He does have HKS or Noxious Bomb. Could do quite a bit of damage to Momo or 𝗬𝗺, but he can't fight this Grumper, and really it's just up to Naga's Fury to try and hurt Grumper. But that is such a risky play, as 𝗬𝗺 could just swap in to take that.
Yeah, and there's the fact that 𝗬𝗺's still in the back line to try to deal with the 𝗀𝗀𝗪. Of course, 𝗀𝗀𝗪 does some good damage on 𝗬𝗺 as well. But 𝗬𝗺 faster. The faster Temtem will be the first one to kill, so that's a bit of an issue. And yeah, 𝗏𝗍𝗃, just with the final 3 Temtems versus the final 3, based off the HP, Setska has a bit of an advantage. Based off the typing, I want to say Setska has a little bit of advantage as well. So tough matchup, but let's see. I mean, Nagai's Fury is online, so maybe there's a way. I mean, Grumper's the second slowest, so the second to attack, so Grumper won't connect onto Nagai's, but maybe a Bark does, and that might be any shot that connects onto Nagai's the next turn. Probably all she wrote for the Nagai's.
Yeah, I mean, if this is complex. If 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏 clicks Fury, Momo likely survives thanks to that -1 special attack, which means he could Bark 𝗀𝗀𝗪, and 𝗬𝗺 would have no problem taking it down with Hypoxias later on. Toxic Ink, he doesn't bamboozle himself, so he's targeting down this Momo early. Psy-Surge as well.
Okay.
Just wants to kill the Momo. Don't let any barks, but no, he doesn't go down. The minus special attack is too much to handle. Double Edge to do some damage, and now Grumper, poor little Grumper, free little Grumper, Thunder strikes this Naga down to hell. 0% left. 𝗬𝗺 to come in, and he still has to face the same fate of a 100 HP Grumper.
Yeah, so just 2 Temtems to a name, but hey Rawrzyyy, am I missing something? Is Double Edge a 1 prio technique?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's exactly right. Okay, I just bought my Momo today, so I'm excited to get working with it. But yeah, okay, I was mistaken there. So the one prio on that double edge outspeeding. So even with the bamboozle, the Thunderstrike would have been easily one shot the Nagai's there. So not too bad. And Rawrzyyy, as you said, the Lowali here might be giving Golder a tough time, but you got some good attacks though. Noxious Bomb, Toxic Ink on Lowali, that should be a good amount. But Grumper probably with the last Thunderstrike to put that nail in the coffin. But wait a minute, Lowali taking a big hit.
Yeah, that might be too much now. I think the bark might have been needed onto Golder because Hypoxia is only doing 41%. Electric Storm, it is enough for a Volder, and we hope, we pray, just barely. And Golder down 33 down to 0, and Grumper with no stamina versus Golder. We've seen this before. We know how this ends. This was game 1.
Wait, Setska had it under control. But now, as you said, maybe that first turn snare coming into effect right here in the very last couple turns of our grand finals. Can big boy Golder close it out, or can this Grumper, you know what, right? Maybe the bark to really lower that Golder special defense could have made all the difference. The stamina advantage is on 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗴's side. I'm curious. I think 2 Thunderstrikes though could be enough. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Grumper just had to rest once more. He's down to 43% to Golder's 40, so definitely a lot more damage dealt to this Grump to the Golder in the last few turns. He's got to do more than 20. That's all he needs. If he's able to do more than 20%, Setska can still bring this one through.
Yeah,
he needs to avoid the overexertion, which he easily does. Thunderstrike from 40.9 down to 14. That is GG's for Setska.
Wow, what a close matchup. But as you said, 1 Thunderstrike to end it all here in our grand finals. What a great best of 3 series. Setska making it possible all the way from the losers finals. GG, and hey, GG to 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗴. But let's go, everyone. Round of applause. Setska is our monthly 8 champion.